10 Best 19th Century Detective Movies to Watch After The Pale Blue Eye. The 19th century was criminally mysterious, it seems. The fascination with tales of crime and mystery is a never-ending pool of inspiration. Similarly, The Pale Blue Eye is a detective story starring Christian Bale, already a huge streaming hit on Netflix. Most interestingly, this feature isn't a plain old detective story. It's set in the 19th century and features Edgar Allan Poe, the famous mystery and horror writer. The 19th century is frequently associated with grim tales, which may also be due to the living conditions and circumstances of the time. This lore attracted wider audiences across the globe, considering it was the time when Sherlock Holmes came to life through Arthur Conan Doyle's work. There are many films inspired by this character and other urban legends that inspired some great modern movies. Number 10. The Raven 2012. Starting with The Raven, this movie may be the most similar to The Pale Blue Eye. This is mostly due to the plot. A young detective Fields, Luke Evans, joins forces with Edgar Allan Poe, John Cusack, to solve the mystery of recurring murders that seem to be inspired by Poe's tales. Overall, The Raven was received with mixed feelings. This could most notably be attributed to the fact that there's a lot of action and people can't really imagine Poe jumping and running around, being a master sleuth himself. Despite that, lovers of crime and mystery movies, filled with suspense and action, will certainly enjoy The Raven. Number 9. From Hell 2001. A fantastic and grim story of a detective in 19th century London, From Hell was based on the graphic novel by none other than Alan Moore. And although Moore has a lot to say about his graphic novel adaptations, From Hell was widely received well and considered one of Johnny Depp's best roles. From Hell revolves around Inspector Abberline, Depp, plagued by visions that help him solve cases. He begins chasing the well-known killer, Jack the Ripper, while falling in love with Mary Kelly, who was, spoiler alert, Jack the Ripper's final and most brutally slain victim. From Hell is visually stunning, opposite to what Whitechapel, London must have been back then. Number 8. Sherlock Holmes. While it must be tough to imagine Edgar Allan Poe running around and shooting guns, many people had the same remark about Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes. This crime-action movie has witty dialogue, clever remarks, and all-around good storytelling. Despite the action Holmes gets involved in, Robert Downey Jr. successfully portrays the world's most famous detective. Watson is played by Jude Law, whose performance may only be slightly overshadowed by his stunning moustache. The movie is a great depiction of Guy Ritchie's evolution into more than just a Cockney gangster connoisseur, although that wasn't going badly for him, at all. His Sherlock Holmes, including the sequel called A Game of Shadows, is among the best depictions of the character. Number 7. Murder by Decree. Murder by Decree is another Sherlock Holmes story, which was this time made true to the source material without Holmes jumping and running. Starring the legendary Christopher Plummer as Sherlock Holmes and James Mason as Watson, this movie revolves around Holmes's investigation of the murders in Whitechapel committed by Jack the Ripper. The clash of the two legendary names, one infamous and the other beloved, was a hit when it came out. The feeling of being in 19th century London is conveyed well, and the atmosphere is tense and dark, as are the cases being solved. Murder by Decree is, in many ways, a masterclass of quintessential British performances. Number 7. Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow is another Johnny Depp feature that found its way to this dark and mysterious list. But this time, it's not about famous detectives or killers. It's also technically not set in the 19th century, but it is on the cusp. In 1799, Ichabod Crane, Depp, is sent to investigate murders in a small town called Sleepy Hollow. Considering the movie is meant to be set in 1799, according to IMDb Goof section, most of the things featured in it, from Ichabod Crane's police department to the pumpkin carving, haven't been invented until the mid-1800s. This Tim Burton movie is one of his most beloved collaborations with Depp. It's true to his style of directing and storytelling, but also witty at moments. Alongside Depp, Christina Ricci is the lead. Gaslight. Classic noir and crime movies are a welcome addition to any feature list. Gaslight is no exception. Ingrid Bergman plays Paula Alquist, a woman whose aunt was murdered in her London home. Paula returns to London with her new husband and takes residence in the aunt's home. However, the house is riddled with mysterious events and happenings while they're there. Joseph Cotton plays the detective assigned to Paula's aunt's murder. He's also there as a lifeline for Paula when she realizes her husband, Charles Boyer, may not have the noblest of intentions. Bergman gives an emotionally versatile performance, while Boyer's frustratingly fantastic delivery of a gaslighting husband makes this a memorable viewing. Angela Lansbury also appears in one of her most memorable roles. Number 4. The Shadow in the North. Billie Piper's leading roles always seem to fly under the radar, and The Shadow in the North is no exception. Here, she plays Sally Lockhart, an amateur sleuth who joins forces with her two detective friends, played by Matt Smith and J.J. Feild. An almost 19th-century rendition of Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, this is an exciting and visually gorgeous detective story. The Shadow in the North is a pretty classic British depiction of mysterious events, combined with lovely costumes, exquisite dialogue, and captivating plots. Most interestingly, Sally Lockhart is a literary character, created by the inventive and brilliant Philip Pullman. The movie is also part of the Sally Lockhart Mysteries series, a two-movie special that aired on BBC. Number 3. Les Miserables. Before the famous Les Miserables musical with Anne Hathaway and Hugh Jackman, there was a non-musical version of this 19th-century story by Victor Hugo. This version is, by all accounts, also noteworthy. Liam Neeson plays Valjean, Uma Thurman is Fantine, and Geoffrey Rush plays Javert, the detective hell-bent on catching the criminal Valjean. This is not so much a detective story but a cat-and-mouse chase between a detective and a criminal. It also depicts the events of the French Revolution, combining the crime drama aspect with the historical one. Of course, Hugo's novel is among the literary classics that fall under the must-read category and have significant historic importance. Number 2. Enola Holmes. What if Sherlock Holmes had a teenage sister? By all accounts, Arthur Conan Doyle did pen him a younger sister named Enola. In 2020, Netflix released the action-packed mystery Enola Holmes starring Millie Bobby Brown as Enola and added Henry Cavill as Sherlock and Sam Claflin as Mycroft into the mix. Enola is charming and witty, and by the film's standards, a better sleuth than her world-renowned brother. Brown gives Enola energy and charm much like she's got, and Cavill returns as the silent and broody type, only this time, he's Sherlock Holmes. Fans of witty and action-packed mysteries will surely enjoy this feature, as well as its sequel. Number 1. The Limehouse Golem. 19th-century detective stories seem to feature only Sherlock Holmes or Jack the Ripper. The Limehouse Golem doesn't have them, although the allusion to both exists in some form. This is another feature that shows British cinema is superior for covering detective mysteries from the 1800s. This movie is a gothic suspenseful mystery carried by fantastic talent. Bill Nye plays John Kildare, an intelligent Scotland Yard officer chasing a murderer named the Limehouse Golem. Next to him are Olivia Cooke, Douglas Booth and Daniel Mays. Despite the fantastic cast, the movie was poorly received. That could be from bad marketing or the fact it took a long time to realize the role of Kildare was meant for Alan Rickman, to whom the film was dedicated. It's high time to revive it and its well-deserved popularity.